Hey everybody, it's Josh Ellsworth with Stahls, and I want to welcome you into another edition of our Heat Press for Profit Live here on Friday Eastern Standard Time. And we are excited today because you are joining us. So make sure you shout out who you are and where you're watching from. If you're watching us live, anywhere you're watching, whether that's LinkedIn, YouTube, maybe our Facebook page or Facebook group, say hello, become a part of this conversation. And if you are listening to this afterwards, wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you make some time to join us live each week where you'll see the video broadcast and get to participate in the show. But we thank you all for watching, for joining. We have a great session today because I have Ray Wolfe from Sidemind Creations. And we have a topic today that's all about the strategy behind the sale. And what does that mean? Well, you're going to find out because Ray has built a nice little business for himself and has been successful in headwear. And we're going to look into his business as a decorator, have him share some of tips and tricks to be successful and really allow you to ask your questions along with me. And so we can take some of those successes and see if we can apply them to your business to make you more successful and in control of your business goals. So without further ado, let's welcome in Ray. How you doing today, Ray?
Good. How are you?
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us on our live broadcast. Where are you joining us from?
Frederick, Maryland.
Frederick, Maryland. So not too far away from me. I'm in practically Morgantown, West Virginia, I like to tell people. So just a short little ways from you here in southwestern Pennsylvania. We have people joining us, Ray, from all over the place. So we have Kathy watching from Central Texas. We have my buddy Ty watching from Colorado. Doug, South Dakota, representing. We have our friend Skip, who is always very active in our Facebook group from Pittsburgh. Got some people shouting out, watching us on YouTube. All kinds of stuff. So happy that you guys look forward to noontime on Fridays and joining us live. And we have a great show today. So Ray, I guess let's start off with just tell us a little bit about your business and who you are and a little bit of kind of like how you got started and where you're at now. Just kind of give us the background on Sidemind Creations and Ray and the apparel decorating industry.
Sure. So I started in 2011. Actually helped a friend of mine. I gave him a screen printer. I gave him a job and he wasn't delivering on time. You know, I went and helped him finish that job so, I could save my own butt. And while I was helping him, I really like enjoyed the whole apparel decorating atmosphere and just putting ink to a shirt. Fast forward 11 years to 2019, the business steadily grew in that time. I really fell into a bunch of niche areas. Like I off-road as a hobby. I have a Jeep and I have I'm really big in the off-road world. And I run events in that community and everything. So I found a niche in the off-road industry. And that really excelled my screen printing business to a nice level and a comfortable level. Cause it's all part-time for me. So I don't do anything and Sidemind is not a full-time gig. One day maybe it will be.
Is that a goal you have, or you're not sure?
Not really. I enjoy it, and I really enjoy it as a side gig. Mainly because it brings me a lot of cool hobby money, and it's just my sales can all go to having fun instead of paying my mortgage. And I enjoy my daytime job. I have a very good daytime job that I really enjoy. So fast forward to 2020, I saw when prior to 2020, I would do everything would be embroidery. When it came to headwear, it was okay, but I'm never happy with embroidery just because it's just not clean. It can be clean, but it's not like flex style. It's not like a patch. It's not like a woven patch. It's just, we all know embroidery. So 2020 at ISS, I found the IQ 360. I think I had COVID during the 2020 show, and I was kind of looking at it in the Stahls booth, and I ruined a couple patches because I didn't put the cover sheets on or anything like that. I played with it, and people yelled at me because I was ruining patches. So I actually pre-ordered one. I actually pre-ordered 3 at that time, and they went to, like, 1 came to me and 2 went to a couple of buddies of mine, and that was in 2020. Sales were good. Sales were fine. It was kind of hard because I've always sold a T-shirt. I've never sold a hat. So it was a new industry for me. It was a new sale. So it was kind of hard it was really hard. The way I actually started selling the hats is where I would actually put, like, I would take my own logo and put it in a T-shirt box on a hat and be like, here's a new thing we're offering. And it's, you were out that $5 for the hat, or the $7 for the hat, whatever it is with the logo. But that $7 might yield you a huge sale afterwards. And I always do that. Like, I always kind of give a little, if people order T-shirts, I'll give like the next level up T-shirt with their logo on it or something like that, just so they can see a nicer product, or a different product than what they purchased.
Excellent. So if I'm hearing you right, you're coming from a screen printing background as an entrance into the industry. And so not only did you expand beyond the T-shirt into headwear, was this your first kind of foray into heat applied graphics in a real way?
Oh yeah. So before I had, like, at that time I had probably, a 20-year-old Hottronics press. It was one of the ones that had like little dials on it and everything. It was old. And that's when after I purchased the first IQ360, at that time, then I purchased a bunch of other, brand new Hottronics presses, because once you get it, you enjoy that new press. You're like, oh, I need a new press over here, a new press over here. Like, you kind of you enjoy it. So I expanded in the press area. Fast forward to 2021, I realized, during the hat shortage, I realized that I would really like 2 presses, because there's a dwell time. Like, when you're pressing an emblem, there's a 20 or 30, 40 second dwell time in that time frame, where you could really be prepping another hat or pressing another hat. As you see, there's 2 presses behind me now, and I can really move some hats at this point. I average about 100 hats an hour when I press, so it's pretty lucrative once you can average and actually get that down to a comfortable speed.
Yeah, so 100 hats an hour part-time, right? So you're able to get a pretty good throughput with the time that you're investing. Like, you're the only person in the business, right? So you're having to sell, to market, to press, to do everything, right? Part-time.
So I do, when it comes back to the sale, I don't call it flex style. That is a marketing strategy behind me, because if every shop has an IQ360 and every shop calls it flex style, then that customer can essentially go anywhere and get flex style. I will call it, like, for instance, I call all of my prints liquid embroidery. Everybody knows what embroidery is, but nobody knows what liquid embroidery is. And when you look at, like, you look at the logo that's on my hat or whatever, like, it's very crisp. It's very like wet looking. So, like, that's why I went with that terminology. And that's unique to me. I've seen a couple other shops do it. And it's really nice.
You're getting some shout outs for that move. I like the branding opportunity, right? Because you've also, like, instead of making it so product or brand centric, you've made a category for it, right? Which can basically, products that come along can fit into that category, and you can be showing the latest version of liquid embroidery, this new style or whatever it means. Yeah.
So of course I offer, like, like leather patches and stuff in that nature as well. But, my bread and butter is the liquid embroidery. That is what I push. When it comes to the sale, a lot of people, like, many shops don't put their pricing out there. I'm actually building a separate website for Headwear just right now, that actually will have prices up front to the customer. Everybody has seen the Five Boys screen printing thing where it's like, 400 t-shirts for $400 or something. It's some ridiculous thing like that.
Yeah, follows you around on Facebook, right?
Right,
Once you
right.
click it.
So, with that, what they have done is they've created packages that are on their website that people can easily go in without contacting me, and essentially me spending hours and hours and hours of time like, educating the customer. They can go on my website and then they can see a five hat package, whereas with Stahls it's going to cost $30 for the mold, and then 12 or whatever it is, $15 for the samples as a 5 hat package. A 5 hat package, I might charge them like $50. Whereas like as soon as they're going to see that 5 hats, they're going to want more. Essentially, I hope.
well, yeah. So is that moving past a hope to an actual experience where you've seen that they get 5 hats and then it follows up with more and larger?
And that's not really with 5, but it's happened with 20. Like I do a lot of 20 or 24 piece sales, and the 24 piece sales always turns into a 50 or 100 piece sale. So much so that when I order Flex Style, I order by the 100. I don't order. It's really hard for it to pay off when you're ordering by the 20 or 24 or, the minimums. So I'm always bumping my minimums up at least 1 or 2 levels. And that's so like, your customer will return. It's 80% of your customers will return, and they'll want more hats within I've seen within 6 months.
Yeah. So how are you, just thinking about your available hours every evening or whenever you're working the weekends, like how much is going to production versus sales versus something else? Can you kind of break that down?
Right. So sales, I'm always on Messenger. That's one thing that my customers love about me is Facebook Messenger. Like I don't do a lot of email sales. It's all word of mouth. It's all based on they contact me through Facebook Messenger. I'll do an entire sale through Facebook Messenger in 5 minutes, and then, I kick them an invoice through QuickBooks, and it's done. I do all my proofing through Messenger. It's very they like the one-on-one they get with that type of interaction. You're not just another number per se at a large company, just pushing something out.
Okay, so that's selling. So is that 20% of your
so that's
time?
Probably 20%. When it comes down to production, I usually average about 2 hours a night production, and that's not very much. And that could be between screen printing, pressing UCM, pressing hats. That's 2 hours total on everything a night. And that's really there's even some nights where I might do an hour and a half of just prep of just I might spend my Monday nights just prepping for the week and get all my screens ready for screen printing for the week. And then then move into pressing hats or pressing, shirts at some other point.
And how do you decide, and UC Max, for those that may not know that acronym, it's Ultra Color Max. It's a type of full color direct to film transfer that's made by Stahls and Transfer Express. How are you deciding when to use that product versus screen printing?
So I figured that out the hard way. And so UCM is and it's Stahls is UCM, but it's DTF in general. Is really a cool and breakthrough technology. It's really cool. I'm fascinated by it. But as a screen printer, it should be taboo because it's a heat press item. But I love it. I don't know why, but I love it. So for instance, the shirt that I have on, this is a screen printed shirt. But if you can make the artwork work in such a way where you can break up the black, or you can have voids in your print to let the shirt come through. UCM is just it works. It's soft. It lets the shirt come when you can break up your artwork to let the shirt come through or the garment come through your artwork. It really breaks it up. It makes it nice. If you have a solid piece of artwork, for instance, a sublimated simulated process, screen printing, which is like you would have like a full color back, which have like, you know, cars on it or whatever like that. It may be best to screen print that, just because it would become a lighter back, and that would mean it would be 100% coverage on the screen printing, or so there's that aspect of it, or there's like the quantity. Recently, I've actually changed my entire shop to anything underneath 100 pieces will immediately be UCM. This gets rid of any screen fees. This gets rid of any, like, you know, it frees my screen press up to be able to do 100 pieces or 100 pieces plus jobs. It gives me the ability to have essentially, if I wanted to, it's like somebody running a heat press instead of the screen press. Somebody running a heat press a little bit more easier to train than somebody that's running a screen printing press. There's multiple reasons why you would go down that road.
Yeah, it's good. And I wanted to make sense of that for some of our listening audience, because it's a top question that we hear. And so I love to hear different actual real life business approaches. And I really like that you have a specific cutoff, because it takes like all the time, which is very valuable to you, out of the equation with like analyzing every single job. You set a general hard rule where, you know, if it's over 100, we're going this direction. If it's less than 100, we're going this direction. And you can execute and evaluate it, you know, in a month or 3 months and say, does this make sense? And did I maximize, you know, my resources?
Yep.
That's good.
And I do the same thing with samples with t-shirts. Like if it's a screen printing job, I'll throw in a UCM sample and say, like, check this out. You know, this is something new we're doing. Or here's a hat and a t-shirt or something like that.
And are you ever doing beyond the liquid embroidery, I'll use your term, and the other patch products, are you ever doing heat transfers like Ultra Color Max onto headwear as well?
I have not, actually. Okay. My other biggest one is doing, I don't have one here, is doing like woven patches on hats. That is not a Stahls product. I wish it was.
Soon. You heard it here first.
I want that marrowed edge, you know, like, you know, but, you know, if they had that marrowed edge, it'd be killer. But that's another one I do a lot of is woven patches on hats. So much so that, you know, I might be doing, I think the count on my two presses behind me is over 7,000 between the two hats. So that's great. Nice. When you could do 100 hats an hour and you have pressed 7,000 hats in 2 years, that's a pretty good return.
Yeah, I'd say so. I always like to say and I'm not going to ask you to share your numbers, but every hat is, you know, whatever, somewhere between that $5 and $10 profit number. And so it's like a little cash register. For you once it gets going.
I mean, we can share numbers. I'm fine with that. I actually prepared a slide for that if you want to.
Yeah, let me pop it on, and for those just listening and not getting the visual, we'll walk you through some of the numbers and what we're discussing here. But I'm just going to share that.
So behind the scenes, like, you know, I always try to standardize all of my embellishments. You kind of have to look back at your own sales and say, what are your most sold items? How big are the item? How big is the embellishment on the item? Mine is like, you know, is that left panel or right panel, I guess it would be. And it's always like 2.5 inches square, round, whatever you want to call it. I set my pricing up pretty equal to embroidery, my embroidery prices. And since I've done this, my actual traditional embroidery has almost come to a complete halt. Whereas I might do 100 hats a year, noble embroidery. So like it's really not there anymore.
Is that because you're not selling it, or the customer just prefers this finish better and you're giving them the choice?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I always try to, like, I try to do this. I can't embroider 100 hats an hour. So
how many can you embroider an hour? Ballpark. I know it depends on stitch count, but
nowhere. I don't even know. I've never really done the math on that part. But you know, I set up pricing tiers based on the Richardson 112. The Richardson 112 is my #1 hat. Secondary hat is actually a Pacific 404M. And I always tell people, if you want that Pacific hat, it's another $2 more or $3 more based on how many you're getting. When you have numbers like this, you can take these numbers, and I mentioned that I'm going to have a website for this, and I'm setting that up now. It's like you can have that model where you can essentially have like a 5 sample pack or a 25 pack or a 50 pack or 75 pack or whatever, and allow people to pre-select what they want. And then once they make that sale, that initial sale with your website, you can reach out to them and say, okay, like, I'm here, like, let me help you. It's at that point, because now you need the logo, you need a bunch of other stuff from them. So it really stops that whole initial part of, like, educating the customer behind, like, before the sale. The sale's already done. When you have if they're selecting ahead of time. So yeah, it's all about, minimizing the time that you're educating that customer. You're only making money essentially when you're pressing hats. So you're making a t-shirt, or like if you have product moving, you're making money. If you do not have product money moving, you're just sitting there doing nothing. Even if you're getting ready for that sale, you need to close that sale and get to making product.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, like, really what you've done here is you've normalized a lot of things and made decisions on here's how I'm going to sell. And so some of those decisions that you're highlighting, just to go in the slide and talk through it, is you're standardizing your embellishment and you're standardizing your size of that embellishment. So that is very predictable and standard and can be templated for any client. Then you are standardizing your main product, your hat style, as we've mentioned, and your logo size, and you basically have 1 or 2 logo locations roughly, and I'm sure you can get more detailed, but those are your standards. And then you're building a price grid around that. So everything is there, and if a customer is not willing to order an MOQ of whatever, or it doesn't meet their price point, then you're just not wasting time on them. And so everybody that comes through at that point is qualified.
Correct.
Yeah, and I love that, and have some questions coming in, and 2 of these are about the same, so I'm going to read them both. Andrea asks, how are you getting such large hat orders? And Ricky asks, what kind of clientele are you getting that are ordering over 100 hats and liquid embroidery? So just some questions about quantity. If you want to talk through that briefly.
It doesn't really happen overnight. It does happen. Find your niche. That's one key thing that I've been hearing a lot in the recent weeks. And it's happened a lot. Like, that key term has been in multiple of these podcasts and everything. It's like, find your niche. My niche is the off-road industry. I also have, and whereas you might have one niche, like you could also have more than, I don't take in everything underneath the sun. I can't. Doing it part-time and me being the only person, it would be impossible for me to do that. So I focus my time in my niche area. As a hobby, I off-road. I do like RC cars off-road. I do all types of little niche areas. I'm wearing, like, spirit wear right now. My daughter does cheer, so like that's a whole nother niche area that I can get into that I really haven't got into a lot yet. But it comes down to, like, find your niche. And really focus on your niche. Definitely, if there's not somebody in there right now, you have free reign to go at it. If there is somebody in there, that's business. So, like,
yeah. And I would say, another tip I would give is, like, if you want to sell 100-piece orders, your niche can't be, small businesses with 3 people in them. You know what I mean? You gotta be.
It could be. If you're not selling to the staff, you could sell. So, like, another one of if all of these niches per se need online stores, one of my largest areas is like online stores. So I will set up an online store for whatever it is, the company or the niche or the event or something like that, for that. And I'll do like pre-orders in that way. For instance, like, this hat right here, we did this hat at, for a school, for a school. What I did in here is I created this hat. I created, my own like flex fit style like name on the hat, so everybody that received these knows who created it.
All right, hold on. I want to just pause, time out. So Ray just held something up to the camera for those that are listening. Hold it up again, and I'm going to explain it. It basically looks like your flex fit or your metallic sticker that's on your New Era cap or whatever brand you buy. The sticker's on here, and this is his brand now on the cap, which is a pretty phenomenal idea. So I didn't want to pass
this
that.
Isn't my idea. This is definitely not my idea. It's actually, I took this idea from another person in the Heat Press for Profit group.
That's all right. Now everybody knows.
Rock City Apparel. I did.
Justin.
I saw that on his stuff, and it was awesome. But it's nice because what that does is brands your item, and then all it takes is one person to come back to you and say, like, I want hats for my business, or I want hats for my brand, and then it grows from there. How do I get 100-piece orders every time? I don't. It comes into like I'll get more 75-piece orders than anything, 50-piece orders for everything. But those people that are ordering those are selling things for like they're selling things in online stores. They're selling things for that hat I just showed. That's going in an apparel shed at a football field. So they're buying things to sell them.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So we're here live on the Heat Press for Profit show. I have Ray Wolfe from Sidemind Creations joining me, and he is sharing tips on how he's been able to grow his part-time business to decorate what we found over 7,000 caps in the past 2 years, as well as add heat printing to his screen printing offering with heat transfers. And for those that are joining live, there are a ton of questions. So I want to make sure we get through some of these. So we're getting lots of good feedback on that's awesome from the sticker that you just showed. Doug asks, who are you using for stores?
I'm not using them.
That's all right. Say who you're using. We're all good. We're all good.
I am using Equid for my online stores. Downfall with Equid is you have to create a whole nother store. You have to actually have another account. So I'm actually now I'm an Equid distributor. So I can have multiple stores underneath my account. Their money, the way they handle their money is the way they handle like your online store income is you would essentially create a different online store for every customer. That customer collects their own money in my way. So like that customer, if they have $5,000 in sales, they'll collect that $5,000, and then I'll go after that $5,000. I'll go after my portion of that $5,000 for my products. This way, it holds me back. Like I don't have to worry about taxes. I don't have to worry about like the PayPal fees, the IPN fees, and all that stuff. They deal with all that. They like it because they get the money up front. They don't have to be like, Ray, I need my check or anything like that. I need my cut. I like it because I don't have to do the accounting on the back end.
Excellent. So the name was Equid, which is ECWID.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We've got some other questions coming in. Comments really. So we have a comment, 1,000% true on finding your niche. Trucking companies, and they order a lot, is a niche here. Some other ideas on niches. CBD and dispensary niche, youth hockey niche.
CBD and dispensaries.
Yeah, and here's a good question. When you flashed up your price sheet, you had a mold fee, and so you're actually charging the customer the mold fee rather than just burying it into the price, or how's that working?
So customers most customers that order hats have ordered traditional embroidery hats in the past. There's always a digitizing fee with most shops. Depending on the customer, I will waive that mold fee. If they're a good customer, they've ordered a lot from me in the past, I'll waive that. I've even set up jobs before, complete new jobs where the customer doesn't even know it's coming. Like I'll just that's another marketing tactic is like if you sell them T-shirts or whatever else that your business does, if you know that they're going to sell hats, you could essentially make that hat. Whereas I did one that had It was textured. It was metallic. It had like that chrome look to it. It was a crazy looking design. And I just threw it in a box. And that, when I threw that in the box, I sold 500 hats immediately.
Now you had a relationship with that customer before putting it in a box, though, right? So they knew that, like,
and a lot of my sales aren't brand new. Like, it's not a new customer. It's an existing customer. I have a lot of existing customers, and I have those relationships in place from those niche areas.
Okay, excellent. I won't go too deep here, but I got to ask this tough question to you. Ty says, respectfully, why aren't you marking up your headwear? And so just talk us through your pricing strategy. And
I am. I mean, I in my own way, I am. If you want to pull that slide back up,
let's do it.
So this pricing here is, if you're selling that hat at, let's say, a 75-piece job, you're selling a hat at $16 to your customer. If your customer is then selling the hat for $25 on there, and they need to make money to be able to purchase hats from you, there's no incentive for your customer to purchase hats if they're not going to make money. That's why if you're retail, oh, you can kill it. So, like, I don't sell retail. If you're retail, you can kill it.
And Ken mentions that here is wholesale. Mm-hmm.
Wholesale wise, if you're selling at $50 to $99, it's $16 a hat, and your customer is the retail side that needs to make at least $10 a hat, or $5, whatever it is. They need to make their money. Your hat cost is $575 for a Richardson 112 on average. That would be through S&S, Activewear, anywhere else you can get wholesale access to hats. At that point, for a 2.5 by 2.5 embellishment, you're looking at, for a flex style embellishment, you're looking at $416 a piece. At 75 pieces, with a 75-piece job, at $416, I would immediately order 100, because that price per embellishment will go almost drop $1 a piece. Then you have 25 extra pieces to hang on to for when they come back and say, Ray, I need 10 more pieces, or Ray, that those 25 pieces can sell a lot more jobs. Like, you're only in it, and that's if you order the 75 pieces here for $416. These numbers would bump even more if you jump to the 100 pieces. So at that 75 hats, $575 a piece for the hat, $416 for the embellishment, you're at $991 in consumables. If I'm selling at $16 a piece, I'm making $6.09 per hat. So that's $6.09 every 30 seconds, 45 seconds. That comes out to, and that's 75 hats might take me 45 minutes with 2 machines. One machine, it would take you double the time. So, like, the 2 machines really, really pay off. Like, if you have 1 machine and you think it's good, go to 2. It's don't even look back. It's a sweet move. You lose the time in between, hanging out in between hats, but you get done and you get to go upstairs and enjoy your family time a lot faster and make a lot more money.
And the end result is the $500 per hour, right? I'm just estimating. Right. And so you're really on 2 machines, which is going to cost you, let's just say $4,000 for easy math. You're paying off those machines in a shift of production, an 8-hour shift, right? So it's good. And that's all gravy from there.
So now at this point, my machines are paid off. So it's, you're making 100%.
Yeah. And so what I would come back to is you are going to have to understand your niche market. And I'm speaking to the total decoration audience, whether you're selling wholesale or retail, how much your customers are willing to pay. And a lot of people say that differently, like how much will the market bear? And that will change depending on your sales channel and the value you're creating, quality, speed, look, everything that goes into it. But just know there's a lot of room. You could go higher here in some areas. You could go lower here in some areas. And there's a lot of room to move to be successful with headwear decoration, even pressing an hour a night.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun. Let's just have some let's just feel bad for our fellow Canadian friends and what they're paying for the 112s right now. So sorry, Mike. And then there was a question here about the sticker, right? I knew that was going to get some questions. Where are you sourcing that through? Are you willing to share that?
What sticker?
Oh, the sticker that was on the cat. Yep.
It was actually through Sticker Mule.
Sticker Mule. Okay.
Yep.
Great.
And I think I get like 500 at a time or something. I am trying to find somebody else, because if you've ever ordered with Sticker Mule or one of those online companies, they essentially, I think I have it here. They give you stickers that are die cut. So like they're in these little packs.
Okay.
This is really hard when you're doing production to sit here and pick each one of these. So if I had like a gang sheet of a bunch that are just on backing paper that I could just pull, it would be much faster. And that's actually something that I need to look into, because doing the stickers might take me another whole hour.
Yeah, you just need 2 stickers to separate the stickers, right? Just push them on both sides. There you go. Right. Good. Okay, so we're coming up on time here. We have a few more minutes. You can read the comments in the chat. We love it when you guys.
There's one there about graphic designs.
Okay, let me pop it on here. So Becky asks, do you do your own graphic designs? This is a great question. Or do you outsource?
Sometimes. Most of the time, my customers have their own logos. Like this one, they have their own logo. They provide the logo for me. And then I make the decision. What I am really making the decision on is, of course, it's hard to see here. I'm making the decision on what type of embellishment it's going to be. Like if they want liquid embroidery, which is flex style, I'm making that decision on which version of flex style their logo would look best. Like the one on my hat here is beveled. It's bevel metallic, actually. So I'm making that decision whether it should be beveled or textured or flat or whatever like that. That is my call. I show them the differences, but then I tell them my recommendation, and I do that because I'm the professional here. They don't know, the end customer doesn't know what looks best. Unless they're also versed in flex style or whatever like that.
And do you find I want to make a comment about the designs here in a second, but just before we leave this, do you find that you order a certain style more than another when it comes to flex style?
Textured all the time.
Okay.
By far the most. Yep.
Yeah, because your market responds favorably to having that texture and that detail applied to their logos.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then metallic or flat?
Down below that says something about tumblers too.
Yeah. Do you do metallic or flat more often though?
It all depends. It depends on the logo and what I'm trying to get out of it. There's a couple times I've done, most of the time I do just normal flat textured, not metallic textured. And then I've also done a metallic textured. Like if I'm going for the chrome look, a lot of times I'll actually do like the metallic to get that chrome look.
Excellent. So before we leave the graphic design point and get to the next question here in a moment coming in is what's really neat about flex style, in my opinion, is that you do see a lot of client logos, right? Because you don't need to create some novel graphic tee to dress up the client's logo. You can literally dress up the client's logo through just interpreting it through the right selection of media type and style. And you don't really even have to have a vector file. So if all you have is an image of your client's logo that's a snip from their website, you can literally upload that on Stahls.com, pay the setup fee, and get a proof back without any art skills at all, which is pretty cool. So this is a good question coming in from Ken. He says you need to think about doing tumblers because you can get that liquid embroidery.
I've done it. Yep. It's I actually tested it when liquid embroidery, or not liquid embroidery, when Flex Style first was offering through Stahls. I ordered the beveled. The beveled is your number. Like when it comes to tumblers, beveled holds up much nicer than any of the other versions of Flex Style. I don't know why, but I learned this early on. I put it on the tumbler and I put it in the dishwasher about 3,000 times, probably for 8 months. I ran that in the dishwasher every run. That was the cleanest cup I had. But like, it never failed at that point. If I can do my own product discovery and like not discovery, but testing and knowing that a product won't fail and that because you're not technically. I don't think you're supposed to put actual like stainless tumblers or whatever in the dishwasher, but you want worst case scenario. So that's where I was trying to make it fail. It wouldn't fail. I've sold a lot of tumblers through that in that aspect.
Yeah, and the best part for those that may be on a budget and just can't put together the opening funds for 360 IQ, what's really cool about the tumbler it's a pressure sensitive flex style. Mm-hmm. So no heat press is needed at all. It's just with the pressure of the hands to apply the logo like a sticker. So we're getting lots of questions, but we are coming up on time. So I'm going to just pop in a couple comments. Skip says he likes the flat and the textured for tumblers also. But I love this question because I have this one myself from Mike. Is like you're basically selling 2 logo placements or 3 potentially. What logo placement is the most popular with your market, and why do you think that is?
It's always left. I'm not sure why. I do a lot of left. I've done, and it depends on the hat. If you have a lot of the hats I sell are structured hats, as you see, like that's a structured hat. It's always left panel. If it's a non-structured hat, it seems like it's centered or something like in that nature. But there's no difference.
Yeah, and I like the front left panel too because you don't see it so often, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like you're seeing it more, but I feel like you see it less than in retail. You're mainly seeing the front center, so it's just like a unique application that is honestly easier to apply. You don't even have to contend with the seam on a 6-panel cap at that point. Yeah. So. All right. Awesome. So, Ray, I want to thank you for joining us today. Lots of helpful advice shared with other apparel decorators, and we wish you continued success in your part-time business here. And who knows where that'll take you, but I know you're doing awesome with it, and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. We're going to let Ray drop off here. And want to thank everybody for joining us on another edition of our Heat Press for Profit broadcast. We would encourage you to listen to all of these playbacks wherever you listen to podcasts. They are available 1 week after we broadcast them live. And hey, for those of you listening 1 week late, come join us over in the Heat Press for Profit Facebook group, or our YouTube channel, or our LinkedIn page over at Stahls or Transfer Express, where you can join in the conversation and watch these live. Have a great weekend. And thank you all so much for joining.